people often talk about songwriting. Is it a gift or is it a craft? You're going to be teaching people of all different levels at this camp. Which aspects of songwriting do you think can be taught, and which aspects maybe can't, which are innate or in gifts, so to speak?
I don't know, can't teach songwriting. The really great songwriters are born. It's born. Genetic or childhood or something. But you can encourage. And one aspect of encouragement is teaching. You can teach editing. You can teach self-editing. And I would say it's probably the most valuable for someone who wants to write songs, if they really desire to become a professional songwriter, or if they just want to entertain themselves, or just feel it's a self-expression. If you want to get better, you have to learn self-editing. And that's true with any kind of writing. That's true with any kind of storytelling, even art, painting. You have to be a self-editor, and that's a part of the craft. Mm-hmm. Now, whether or not you are going to be inspired, or whether or not your perception of human condition puts you in a position to come up with poetry, I think that's inherited, or it's somehow you're born with that.
Mm-hmm. Well, talk to me a little bit about the teachers you had as a fledgling songwriter. I know the tutelage of Guy Clark was very important to you when you arrived in Nashville in the early 70s. How did figures like Guy and maybe Richard Dobson sort of shape your path as a songwriter?
Well, if you ask me about, the people, my teachers are people that shape the path that I've taken as a songwriter, I have to go back to beginning with my father, mm-hmm. who wasn't a songwriter, but he was nearly savant. He could hear a song, he could hear a country song or an Appalachian dead baby song once or twice and have it forever. And so, he had a repertoire of, if I tried, I can't do them all, but it was an extensive repertoire. So as I was a child growing up, my father was a semi-professional, honky-tonk singer down in Texas, but he also sat around the house and played for his own, eyes closed, sitting on the edge of the bed, barefoot, singing songs, singing Hank Williams songs, Roy Acuff songs. And at the same time, we had a little record player that my parents would leave on the floor, and 8 or 10 Hank Williams 78s that I could get on and play. So I listened to Hank Williams. I had Hank Williams to myself down on the floor from the time I was 4, probably earlier. So those, my father and Hank Williams, and then the Beatles and Dylan and Merle Haggard, Johnny Cash, the Chuck Berry, deeply, Elvis, all of that, that's typical of having come of age in the early 60s. But hands-on, when I got to Nashville in 1972, I lucked into a musical scene that Guy Clark was really the linchpin of. But the satellites around Guy were Mickey Newberry and Townes Van Zandt, and Richard Dobson and Skinny Dennis Sanchez. And later on, after I got here, Steve Earle came in. So Guy was a curator of this orbit, this planetary system of songwriters. And I think I was smart enough to realize my songs weren't worthy of pulling them out at 1 a.m. when, the drinks had flowed for a good long while. But I could sing some of those Appalachian dead baby songs that my father had taught me. which gave me enough currency to hang. You know, Newberry was interested in that kind of thing, so he would give me some attention. And what would happen with that is I could just pay attention. And but Guy Clark was really generous. I mean, he would blustery about, I'm nobody's, you know, mentor or anything. He would poo-poo that, but he was incredibly generous in conversation about the art and craft of songwriting. And in fact, early on, sat me down and played some recordings of Dylan Thomas reading his poetry. And, you know, said, now you're writing songs, you want to make your language and your songs work the way this works. You take away the music, look me in the eye, and tell me the words you've written. Which will probably be one of the exercises we do in our songwriting camp, Adventures in Song.